It began with this grainy footage, classified US military video that showed the killing of Iraqi civilians. It was among hundreds of thousands of Wikileaks documents, the largest leak of classified records in US history. The source, a private in the US Army, then known as Bradley Manning. The revelations shook America and headlines rattled around the world. For some, a heroic whistleblower, for others, a traitor. There was a court-martial, a 35-year sentence, later commuted to 7 by President Obama. On the day the sentence was announced, Manning declared she was a trans woman. So many words written about her, now a memoir written by her. I asked Chelsea Manning, transparency activist, transgender idol, why she wanted to set the record straight.
Right, so I wrote this book to sort of tell my story, because I feel like through all of this, my own sort of life and perspective have been forgotten about or cast aside by a lot of big events and personalities and things. But I'm really just a human being, with all of the positives and negatives that come with being a real human being. And I wanted to tell a human story.
You dedicate this book to trans kids and their bravery. I wonder how much you've been following the trans debates in the UK about plans to reform gender ID. JK Rowling suggesting that some harm could come to women and girls if that new law came into place. What do you say to someone like her?
Through every wave and every attempt to sort of remove trans people from society or queer people in general. We have built infrastructure, we have built networks of people, we have built survival, means of survival. And, it doesn't matter what the law says or what you do or what you say or what a powerful group of people do to silence us.
JK Rowling has been very active in this debate. Do you think there is a common ground to be found between you and her?
No.
Simple as that?
Yes.
I want to move on to the leaks. And I wonder, what is it about that video that you felt just had to be seen, that couldn't be suppressed?
If you actually watch the entirety of the video, you sort of see the worst of humanity while also seeing some hopeful moments and some of the best of humanity, because, in the aftermath, whenever people realized, despite the cruelty and the sort of, distant and awful way in which, this dehumanizing way in which, the pilots and the gunner were sort of viewing the situation, the people on the ground still had this sliver of humanity.
You leaked hundreds of thousands of classified documents, and you say you had a clear objective. You wanted to change people's minds, didn't you, about the war in Iraq? And in a way, you won that argument.
I haven't viewed it as like I'm trying to get my own sort of views or perspectives across, because it's not like this is an op-ed or an opinion. These are facts. This is the historical record. This is the truth, the true reality. I mean, it doesn't have my opinion attached to it. This sort of factual grounding was missing prior to 2010. And I think that, my objective was to provide that context and to fill in that gap.
You paid such a heavy price for those leaks, and your suffering, it comes across so poignantly in the book. You write about this iron cage that you were kept in solitary confinement. How often do you think about that now?
I think about it less, and I experience it less, but definitely whenever I was going through the writing process of this book, the sort of re-triggering of these experiences was very difficult.
And of course, Julian Assange published the material that you leaked, and he's currently in prison appealing extradition to the US, where he could face up to 175 years in prison. What do you think about him and his plight?
I have had access to the evidence in this and through my court-martial process, and I can't discuss or disclose any protected information that has been shared with me. I wish I could speak on this matter. I'm unable to do so. I mean, I feel sympathy for anybody in prison. I think that one of the things that I've always found is that solidarity with prisoners or anybody who is being held in some kind of confinement, I definitely have solidarity with the plight of people in prison.
And what you do say in your book about Assange is that you felt that he was more interested in making a splash than dealing with the complexities.
Well, it got published, and I think that is the primary goal and objective that I had.
Chelsea Manning, thank you so much for speaking to us. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.